Right, I think I'm live. Good evening. I'm Sarah McGecky from Sarah McGecky Medium page. Lorraine has kindly asked me on here tonight to give a few readings, so here I am. So I'm just waiting for a few folk to come on. I finally got my computer sorted so that I can come on live on my computer, which makes a change. So we'll just wait for a few people to come on. Hi Leslie, how are you? If you'd like a reading, just say. And we'll go from there. Hi Fiona, how are you? Nice to see you. As I say, if you'd like a reading, just say. Hi Simon. Hi Anne. You'd love a reading. Okie dokie. Alright. Hi Lisa. Okay. I'll do you Fiona first. Okay, Fiona. Okay. I have a lady here, Fiona, okay? And I believe this lady is, I want to say, a mother figure. In fact, she's not a figure, she's a mother. That was a silly statement, a mother figure. She's a mother. And I believe she's your mother, okay? Okay, I want to say that this lady she was very honest and straightforward and sometimes even blunt, if that makes sense. She was blunt to the extent she would tell you, if you asked her opinion, she would tell you her opinion, and it was like, well, you asked for it, what did you expect? She was that sort of lady. um and I'm just getting that the truth and honesty meant a lot to her, if you can understand that, Fiona. It's like she's just the type of woman, as I say, who if she's not honest, she keeps her mouth shut, basically. That's what I'm getting from her. She's also telling me that you can be like that as well. You'd rather sort of hurt someone with the truth than try and protect them with a lie, if that makes sense, because it's basically better to get it out in the open, get it over with, and that's just the way she is. Um, as I say, she's also saying that you're exactly the same as that, but she's actually turning this around, and she's actually saying that this is all part of her message. She's actually saying that there is something going on in your life at the moment, Fiona, where you feel that you need to speak the truth, you need to speak your truth, if that makes sense, and you know that you're going to get slammed down for it. So you're keeping your mouth shut. And she's actually saying, just go ahead and speak your truth, if you can understand that, Fiona. It's like she just wants you. She knows there's going to be a backlash. She said, but you're also strong enough to handle that backlash, if that makes sense. And in the long run, people will appreciate you for your honesty rather than, as I say, covering it up or just sort of lying. It's not lying, if that makes sense. But what I'm trying to say is, if if you do lie in the situation that you're in to spare someone else's feelings, you're going to end up, it'll backfire on you. So you're actually better being truthful from the start. That's what I'm trying to say, and that's what she's telling me, that I've said it correctly, if that makes sense. So that's what she wants you to do. She wants you to stand up, and be yourself in this situation. Tell it exactly the way you see it, and people will accept it eventually. And she's pushing at the word eventually, because there will be a backlash from it, and she understands that, but you also understand that, is what she's saying. So I'll leave her love with you, Fiona, and do what she says. Just go and do what she says. Okay. I'll leave her love with you, Fiona, and thank you so much for working with me. Right. I'm just going to go up because there was someone else said that they wanted a reading. And who is it? Where is it? I'm not finding you. Okay. Anyone? Right. Oh, thank you, Maxine. It's just I usually have it up tight. I got told the other day it makes me look old, so I took it back down. So, right, who else are we going to go? Right. Yeah, go back out and come back in again. Try again. Okay, you'd love a reading. Okay, Irene Bennett. Irene Bennett, okay? There's an Irene Bennett and Lisa Bennett, but I'm coming to Irene Bennett at the moment, okay? So, Irene. Okay, I have a gentleman here, okay? And I believe this gentleman is, I want to say he's a father. He's definitely a father. Whether he's your father, I'm not sure, but he's definitely a father, okay? In fact, he is your father. Okay. Um, right. This is another man that he's talking about holding back. He didn't hold back in life. He didn't hold back with his tongue. You got the brunt of his tongue no matter what. If you can understand that, Irene, it's like he will. I don't want to say he was nasty with it, if that makes sense, but he would let you know exactly how he felt, and as I say, you would get the brunt of his tongue if that you're not related. Okay, doke. Yeah, if you can understand that, Irene. Um, as I say, he's telling me that he could fly off the handle at times as well. Um, but he's looking back at that and saying that he was too tough at times. He was too tough at times, but it was like, I want to say he was in like protection mode, if that makes sense. He's telling me that he wanted to protect the females in the family. I don't know if that was you, Irene, or or what, but your screen's froze. Okay. Um, Okay, well, as I say, he's telling me that he wanted to protect the females in the family, and he just felt like he came down too hard on them, if that makes sense. And it came across as brash. It came across as more. I'm trying to think of the word, and I can't. But what he's trying to say is he's apologising for coming across as brash, if that makes sense. I'm not quite sure if you're still there, Irene. I don't know if it's your screen that's froze or my screen. Could someone let me know if it's my screen that's froze, if possible? Or am I speaking to myself? Right. Unable to hear because you're so quiet. Brusque. Okay. That's the word. Yep. And we're back again. Okay. I think I froze. Apologies for that. Okay. Right. Yeah. Brusque. Brusque and brash, if that makes sense. But there was no. Hmm, he wasn't horrible with it. That's the only way I can describe it. He's just saying that he went overboard at times with protection, if that makes sense, if you can understand that. And he's saying he's still like that in a way, although he wants to apologise because he did come across as I say, brusque and brash and everything else, and that really wasn't him. Um, but he's saying he still can be like that now. He says that he's around you and he sees he sees what's going on, and he's saying that you need a little bit of help at the moment. You need someone to put their arms around you and tell you it's going to be okay. If that makes sense, Irene. And that's what he wants to do for you. He wants to, as I say, put his arms around you. That he wasn't that type in life to put his arms around you and tell you that he'd be okay. But he wants to do that now for you, if you can understand that. He's just saying that bad times don't last, but strong people do. And he's saying you're one strong lady. Um, if you can understand that, as I say, there is something going on at the moment, and it's to do with family. It's to do with um, it's to do with family and family. Let's say battle of the wills is what he's given me. If you can understand that, Irene, there's a battle of the wills going on, and you just feel that you just could be just a big cuddle and a big someone just to say this, it's going to be fine. You're going to be fine, if that makes sense. And that's what he's making my chest fill with a lot of love for you. But as I say, he wasn't great at saying that sort of thing when he was here. But he's definitely, as I say, making my chest feel just, you know, just full of love. You know, when your heart just explodes with love. That's the way he's making me feel, Irene. And he wants me to pass that love on to you, to give you strength to get through whatever it is you're getting through at the moment. As I say, there's definitely something going on within the family, and it's definitely like a battle of wills. And I get the feeling that you are in the middle, being pulled in both directions, if that makes sense, Irene. Um, in fact, that's what he's saying, and he's saying you're stronger than you think. Um, so, as I say, just take his love. Know that pull on him for strength when you need it, and know that he is there, watching you, and he is there guiding you, if that makes sense. So I'll send you. I'll leave his love with you, and thank you so much for working with me, Irene. Okie doke. Okay, there's someone's name jumped out to me. Is it Michelle Matthews? I'm just going up and looking for her. Was it a Michelle Matthews? Yes, there is. Okay, Michelle, if you're still here, could you let me know, please? Your name's jumped out at me. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right. If you could just keep up with the yes, no's, or don't knows, or whatever. And as I say, the more you keep up, the more it flows. If that makes sense. Because as I say, spirit sort of waits for the answer before they come in again. So right, who have I got for you, Michelle? Okay. I have an elderly lady who was young at heart, and what I mean by young at heart, yeah, you're there, thank you. What I mean by young at heart, she was the type of lady to turn around and say, you're only as old as you feel. You're not, you know. Doesn't matter if I'm in my 80s or whatever. I only feel like I'm in my 50s, my 40s or whatever. And that was just her. She just kept going the whole time. She was pretty. I want to say she was pretty strong emotionally, if you can understand that, Michelle. And I want to say, in the end, it was her body let her down, not her mind or anything else. Her mind was still pretty active, if that makes sense. She's coming across. I actually want to say great grandmother for some reason. I may be wrong, but I want to say great grandmother. Okay, but you obviously knew her, and as I say, and I want to say that she was, even when she was old, sort of older, and even when she was very quiet, unable to hear you. Right. I'm just wondering if that's right. I've just lifted my computer up a little bit. Hopefully that might help. I don't know where the speakers are. Okay. Right, where was I? Yes, even towards the sort of the latter end of her life or whatever, she was still, I want to say, like, jokey. She liked to laugh. She's putting the word easy pleased into my head, but she's making a joke of that, if that makes sense. Hang on, it's telling me my live stream is experiencing connection issues. Okay, fingers crossed it doesn't anymore. Okay, so as I say, this lady, as I say, liked laughs and jokes, and she always had something to say. She's telling me she could speak for England, if that makes sense. You didn't know your great grandmother. Okay, well, as I say, it might be your grandmother, because I think it's because of the age I'm getting the great grandmother, if that makes sense. But she's definitely a grandmother, or well, you didn't know your great grandmother, but this lady knew you, so I would say it was your grandmother then. Okay, that was my mistake. I picked it up wrong. As I say, she's also telling me that she had problems with her. I want to say waterworks. I want to say sort of your lower stomach area, if that makes sense. Waterworks, kidney area, lower stomach. She's making me very aware of. And this was latterly, if that makes sense. Okay. She's also showing me wool. So this lady used to like to either knit, or she's not showing me the needles, but she's showing me the wool. Okay, so she either knitted or crocheted. Okay. The kidneys, thank you. She's, as I say, she's making me very aware of my round my back there, and my waterworks. As I say, she did enjoy doing something with her hands, and she's showing me wool, as I say, which makes me believe it's either knitting or crocheting. Um, okay. Um, in her younger days, she liked to doodle as well. She showed me a pencil in her hand. She liked to doodle, and she was very. I want to say she was very spiritual in her own way. She wasn't the type of woman to force any of her beliefs down your throat, but she was very like spiritual, if that makes sense. Not so much religious, but spiritual, if that makes sense. Um, she was. She's also telling me she had. Okay, she's showing me herself with two other ladies of roughly the same sort of age. So I believe that she had sort of friends over the years that grew up with her, grew old with her, went through life with her, if that makes sense. And this three was the best of friends, if you can understand that. Michelle, it's like they done everything together. They all sort of was parents together. They all sort of retired together, and they all sort of went out on, I want to say, day trips or bingo and things like that, if you can understand that. As I say, it seems to me like there's three of them is what she's showing me. Okay. I'm also getting quite shortness of breath with her. So I feel that it's either her lungs or her pipes up to her chest or whatever was getting sort of. I'm feeling. You know when you've got a. The only way I can describe it is, you know, when you got a really bad cold and it's coming down onto your chest. That's how it's making me feel, like really short of breath, and I really want to take a deep breath to get breathing properly again, if that makes sense. Just like everything's blocked, is what I'm feeling. Okay. She's also talking about. If someone got some sort of allergy to, I want to say, like brass or nickel or. Why is she giving me this? Have you just been diagnosed with different allergies or something, or someone close to you, Michelle? This, she's given me allergies. Why are you giving me allergies? She's given me allergies in like wheels, you know, like wheels on your hands, like when you're allergic to something, your skin comes up in wheels. She's given me that for some reason. Okay, I'm not quite sure what she's going on about, and I have asked her, but when I did ask her, she showed me wheels. You know, the wheels, like the lumps of. So keep that in mind. I've got no idea what it means. It might be that someone's going to get an allergy or something. I don't know, but she's maybe just telling you to be aware of it. Because as I say, I did go back and ask her, and she showed me the lumps, if that makes sense. So, as I say, keep it to one side, and just remember if anything like that happens, that she was aware of it. Hives is the word. That's it. I couldn't think of the word. But yeah, it was like an allergy, and then when I asked her what the allergy was, she just showed me the hives, if that makes sense. So I don't know what kind of allergy it is, but as I say, keep it sort of in the forefront of your mind, but push it to one side, and I'm not sure. As I say, you might just get told of something, right? Okay, this lady's also telling me that in her day she had a little bit, I want to say a little bit of OCD, in the fact that everything. She's calling it OCD now, but in her day they just called it sort of. She'd do her housework every day, a couple of times a day. She'd do the hoovering, she'd do the polishing, everything. Excuse me, was in its place, is what she's saying, and she's saying you'll remember that about her, because as I say, everything did have it in its place, and there was never a speck of dust or nothing. Everything was just, as I say, polished, and you could see your face in the furniture. Basically, is what she's saying. She's saying that, and that is one thing that you will remember about her. She's also talking about. She's talking about a scar. Now, I don't know if she's saying that she had a scar on her stomach, or you've got a scar in your stomach, but it's like an appendix scar, but it's a proper scar. She's showing me. It's like, but that's sort of big. And as I say, she's showing me this scar for some reason. I don't know if you do. Okay. I think it's just a little bit of evidence. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, and she's also she's talking about some. Okay, she's saying how when she was first married, when she was first starting out in life, she had a few money worries, and she's bringing the money worries to the forefront at the moment, saying that there is money worries at the moment, but they will sort themselves out. If you can understand that at all, Michelle, it's like she just doesn't want you to worry about them, because they will sort itself out. And as I say, she brought me back to a time when she had money worries. So the way I'm reading that is either yourself or someone around you's got a little bit of money worries at the moment, but she's saying not to worry about it, not to make yourself ill stressing over it, if that makes sense, because they will sort itself out eventually. Okay. And I think basically that is your message, because she sees that you are worrying, you are fretting, you are getting anxious about how the bills are going to be paid, if that makes sense. But she's just saying, please don't make yourself ill over it. You know, it will sort itself out. And that's basically her message for you. Okay. Okay, right. She's talking about a whistle, okay? Now, to me it looks and it also sounds like a dog whistle. Why are you bringing in a dog whistle? Okay, she's bringing in a dog whistle, and she's saying to you that you need to keep someone under control. Would that make sense to you, Michelle? Is someone sort of going off the rails at the moment? Yeah, it's like she's aware that there's someone. She's giving me this dog whistle. It's like to blow the whistle to pull them back in, if that makes sense. And she's saying that she feels that someone's sort of going off the rails at the moment and is running you a merry dance. And this is why you're sort of anxious in that as well, if that makes sense, Michelle. And she's saying to basically, this is going to sound so stupid, as I say, because she gave me the dog whistle to tell you to rein them in, if that makes sense. So it's quite a hard one to try and explain, because when someone else is going off the rails or whatever, and playing up, it's sometimes hard to stamp down on it, if that makes sense. And this is the reason she gave me the whistle, as I say, to rein them back in. So what I'm trying to say is, she's letting you know that she's aware of what's going on, and she is watching you and watching what's going on at the moment. Yes, you're trying. Okay, yeah, she is aware of that. And as I say, I wasn't explaining it very well, but as I say, that's what she's wanting you to know, that she is aware of it, and she's on your side. She's on your, draw on her for strength, if that makes sense, because she's rooting for you. But she reckons it's only a matter of time before they turn the corner and turn their life around, if that makes sense. So I'll leave her love with you, Michelle, and thank you so much for working with me. Okie doke. Right, who else have we got? Right, Lisa Bennett. Right, Lisa Bennett. Right, if you're there, Lisa, if you can tell me, please. Excuse me, I have a lady come through, and I believe it's for you, Lisa. Where am I going? Putting the wrong bit up. Right, scrolling up and losing my video. Bit silly, isn't it? Right, where did I say? Lisa Bennett, where are you? Right. Okay, if you're still there, Lisa, could you let me know, please? Because I do have a lady here, and I believe it's for you. Yes, you're there. Thank you. Okay, I do have a lady here, and I want to say that this lady, I want to say it's an auntie. And if it's not an auntie, it's certainly like a mum's friend, if that makes sense. But I want to say I want to say blood related as well, which makes me go towards auntie. Okay. And I want to say that this lady, I'm breathing deeply here. It's like struggling to get my breath. So this lady, I want to say, passed with lung condition. Okay, I want to say that she was even the word COPD, something like that, COPD, I think. She's given me as well. So this lady, as I say, had problems breathing, problems with her upper respiratory system, all in total, including her lungs and her pipes and everything else. Okay, and I want to say she, as I say, she was pretty young when she passed. I want to say 50s, maybe 60s at a push, but no, I want to say 50s. Okay, and she's telling me that she looked older than what she was. But that came to, as I say, that came from like fighting for her breath and that sort of stuff. If you can understand any of that at all, Lisa. Okay, if you could sort of keep up with the yeses and the nos. Not sure, all my aunts are still alive. Okay, right. Okay, right. Forget about what I said about the aunt, okay? And if you can take this lady, as I say, I want to say COPD, I want to say shortness of breath, problems with her lungs, upper respiratory system, all that sort of area there. And I want to say that she passed, I want to say in her 50s. I want to say in her 50s, okay? She's also, I'm also getting the throat area, okay? I'm also getting that this lady smoked. I'm smelling smoke. I'm also getting that she was I want to say she was a very relaxed sort of person. Nothing really phased her, if that makes sense. She was the type of person, as I say, that you could talk to her about anything, and even if she didn't have an answer for you, she would sit and listen, and that's 9 times out of 10 would help more than anything else. With just the fact that, as I say, she had an ear, and you knew that she was listening, and you knew that she understood, and you knew that she had time for you, if you can understand that at all. But she was in her 80s, okay? Okay. Okay. Right. No, I still feel this woman was only in her 50s, but she looked older. Right, if Lisa can't take this, I was looking at a couple of names going up when I was looking for Lisa, and I'm wondering if someone stepped in for someone else. Can anyone else understand this? Can anyone else take this lady? She was in her 50s. She definitely had breathing problems, and she had, as I say, lung problems, upper respiratory and throat problems. Okay, my mum passed with COPD, emphysema, and 58 when she passed. That's sounding more like it, Pauline, and that's sound right. Okay, Lisa, can I just ask you to sort of still listen, but I actually think I'm with Pauline, and as I say, I'll come back to you again, Lisa. Okay, and can I possibly work with you, please, Pauline? Thank you, and apologies for getting that wrong. Okay. I could be with Rachel as well. Okay, so which one's Rachel? I actually think I actually feel pulled to Pauline. Right, if you're still here, Pauline, as I say, could you sort of keep up with the yes and no's, if that makes sense? Okay. As I say, I want to say that this lady, as I say, she did look a wee bit older than her 50 odd years, if that makes sense. But she's saying it's down to her breathing and down to her. I also want to say that, yeah, can't spell the last illness, don't worry about it, I knew what you meant. And I want to say, as I say, this lady had, she had a really kind way about her. She had like a knowing way about her. People would talk to her, knowing that she would listen to them, knowing that she was she would, even if she didn't have an answer for them, she would sit quiet and you could offload to her, if that makes sense. So I want to say that she was just, although she had her own problems and everything else, she was there for everyone else, if that makes sense. Yeah, she had lots of friends, yeah. And I just want to say, as I say, those friends were good for her. But as I say, she was good at listening to their problems, listening to, and just advising them, and that was just the way she was, if that makes sense. I'm also getting that either she herself, she's given me the word Virgo, so I'm assuming that either herself or you are a Virgo for some reason. I don't know. I think Virgo's coming up, isn't it? No, Cancer and Leo's coming up, then Virgo. Okay, she's maybe saying that there's something sort of the end of August into September. As I say, she's talking about a Virgo. I'm not quite sure what she's going on about, to be perfectly honest, unless you understand. Okay. I also want to say that this lady gave her all to there was one charity she's talking about that she supported most of her life, and she gave, not that she gave a lot of her time to this charity, if that makes sense. She was, she helped raise money for them. She helped, new in July, okay. As I say, she helped raise money for this charity. I don't know if it was a COPT charity or something else, but there was something that most of her life she was trying to raise money for, if that makes sense. I want to say, that was exactly what I did with my aunt. Okay. Now you've got me confused. Could it be Pauline? Could it be Rachel? Okay, if you can both listen, okay. As I say, this lady, raised money for charity. She was quite often doing different things, tombolas and just different things. She's also telling me that she enjoyed reading. She's showing me books, but it's like trying to tell. It's not thriller books. It's like what do you call them when it's like thrillers and novels and that sort of thing, like murder mysteries and things. That's what I was trying to get. Murder mystery books and everything else. She showed me a bookshelf with a few books on it. They all seem to be, as I say, like murder mysteries and things like that. She enjoyed getting lost in a book, is what she's saying. But you work in a charity shop, okay. As I say, it's definitely something with charity that she's going on about, but she's talking like she was raising money for a charity, that she sort of supported for a long time, if that makes sense. I also want to say that she was she's telling me that she was high spirited, although she was laid back and an easy listener to her friends, she could be quite, she's given me the word high-spirited, unless it's you that's high-spirited, Pauline or Rachel, or there's someone around you that's very, very, what's another word for high-spirited, like it's like highly, no, it's not even could jump off the handle at the slightest thing. That's the wrong way of, I can't think how to put it. There's someone around you or yourself at the moment that is jumping off the handle too quickly, if that makes sense. It's like you're not listening to what's going on when you are reacting, if that makes sense. I don't think this is for me. No, that's fine, Pauline. Thank you so much for saying that. That's fine. So I think maybe it's Rachel then. As I say, I don't usually get confused like this, but I am tonight. There's always a first time. Highly strung is a saying, yeah. As I say, it's like they're not listening to what's going on before they're jumping in, they're wading in, like jumping in both feet first, if that makes sense. And that's what she's trying to tell me. And they need to. What she's trying to say is they need to calm down a little bit. They need to stop this being so highly strung, because it's going against them, if that makes sense. It's, you have a son like it, okay. Yeah, as I say, whoever's sort of jumping off the handle and is being highly strung, it's like they need to. It's going against them. It's it's like it's getting them into trouble. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like they are, it's like they're picking on the wrong ones. It's like they're they're speaking um, before they're meant to. It's like they are, and if you say something wrong to them, it's like they fly off the handle at you. If that makes sense, is what she's saying. This is what she's saying that she's aware of, and she's saying it's a hard situation to be in when you're around someone like that all the time. Lung cancer, and Mum would say something before thinking it through about jumping down someone's throat. Okay, right, okay. Right. I've got to work out who I'm with here. Okay. I actually. Right. Sounds like you. Yeah. Well, to be perfectly honest, I'm not being pulled to anyone. The one that I was pulled to, she's saying that it's not for her. So I'm not sure what's going on. But as I say, there's someone definitely around that's highly strung. Needs to stop and think about what they're doing before they go any further, if that makes sense, because they're getting themselves into an awful lot of trouble. They're getting themselves into, people are trying to talk to them and they're jumping down their throat, they're going away, slamming the door, etc., etc. And he's sending very much this way. Okay, okay. I just want to say that this lady is aware of what's going on, and she's saying that you feel pulled. You feel pulled. You want to, you want to stop. You want to stop him from doing what he's doing, because it's like not self harm. I can't think of the word, but it's backfiring on him, if that makes sense. And I just want to say that, well, she wants to say that she's aware of what's going on, and you're suffering because of it as well. If no, okay, Pauline, that's fine. So I just want to say that this lady she's sending her love, she's sending big loves, and she just wants you to know that she is behind you every step of the way for helping this person who is, I don't know, going off the handle at the moment, if that makes sense. I'm finding it really a struggle to explain when I don't know who I'm speaking to, if that makes sense. So I'm going to call this one to a halt, and bring someone else through for someone, as I say, because normally when you're speaking to one person it's fine, but I'm not quite sure who I'm speaking to, so I'm going to call it to a stop at the moment. But I'm going to leave their love with the three of yous, and thank you so much for working with me, and jumping in and saying it was for you or whatever. Right, let's have a look and see. Right. Got out of hospital today, Corey. I didn't realise you were in hospital. Hope you're okay. Okay. Right, where are we? Right. Love a message, please. Alison Davies. Okay, Alison. Okay. Right, Alison. Okay. Right, I have a lady here, okay? And I want to say this lady was in her 70s when she passed, okay? And I also want to say she's making me very, very aware of my middle back, okay? Not my chest, but my back, where my lungs are, if that makes sense. So I want to say that this lady either suffered with the likes of asthma or something to do with her lungs. Okay. I also want to say that this lady was. She's telling me she was really jolly. She was really. She used to laugh. She used to laugh at anything. Was just happy-go-lucky. Was the kind of woman who she was in her own way. She was a delight to be around because, as I say, she was she was just happy-go-lucky, if that makes sense. She took whatever was handed to her on a plate, and she was the type who she worked hard for what she had, and she everything that she had and accumulated, she actually felt blessed, if that makes sense. She was the type who as I say, she did work hard for what she got, and right from a young age, she appreciated her parents instilled in her like to say her prayers when she was younger. She didn't do it that so much when she was older, but when she was younger, she would say her prayers. She would say gratitude for the food on the table, the roof over her head, that sort of thing, and she instilled that in her children as well, if that makes sense. But she wasn't so much as as a church goer, if that makes sense, but she certainly had beliefs, if you could understand that. Alison, she was she loved her music. She loved music, she's telling me, and it was, I want to say, she would go around the house humming and singing, and well, it was more of a singing hum. That's the only way I can describe it. She wasn't actually singing words, but she wasn't exactly humming. That's really strange, but it's like a humming, like a singing humming. That's the only way I can describe it. Okay, she's telling me that she was always like that. She very, very rarely got in a mood, if that makes sense. But she's also saying if she was angry, by God was she angry. But yeah, that you didn't see that very often. You know, you'd be lucky if you saw it once a year, not even that. You know, she didn't. It's not everyone that got to see that side of her. And she says you wouldn't really like to see it again when I did. And she did hum. Yeah, she did. As I say, it's weird. It's like humming, but it's like half words of songs coming out, but turning it into a hum. I can't explain it. It's I can hear it, but I can't explain it. It's weird. As I say, and she was also one for tapping her, tapping her, like just tapping her fingers in time to the music, if that makes sense. She's also telling me that she really enjoyed a cup of tea and a rich tea biscuit, and when you could get them, she also enjoyed the long ones like rich tea. I think it was tea fingers. She would enjoy those. She enjoyed the plain biscuits rather than the chocolatey, creamy things. She enjoyed the plain biscuits, and as I say, it was rich tea and the tea fingers that she enjoyed, with a cup of tea that was quite strong, she's saying. Okay. She's also saying that she's okay. She's talking about her kitchen. She's telling me she had an old-fashioned kitchen. Right, okay. She's saying about an old-fashioned kitchen that's she either got it renovated or you're getting a kitchen renovated at the moment. She's talking about she's just given me a flash of an old style kitchen and then a new fancy kitchen, if you can understand that at all. Yes, love her tea biscuits. Okay. Why are you giving me the flash of this kitchen? Does the kitchen make any sort of sense to you? Did she have an old kitchen and then saved up and bought a new kitchen, or are you getting a new kitchen? She's showing me something. Yes, loved her kitchen. Yes, she did love her kitchen, but she's given me a picture of an old style kitchen and a new kitchen, if that makes sense. And that's what I'm trying to work out, if either she got a new kitchen that she was really happy with, or you're getting a new kitchen, I'm not sure. But she definitely loved her kitchen. That was her, the heart of the home is the kitchen, basically. It's her kitchen, and yes, she did. Thank you, thank you. As I say, it's like the heart of the home. The whole family sort of, I want to say, met in the kitchen, if that makes sense. There was always a teapot, and she showed me a big silver, like a teapot, but quite a large one. The tall, thin one is, I would say, more like a coffee pot, but she's not. She showed me it's like a fat bottom and a thin top, and it's definitely got the tea spout on it. Okay, she showed me this, and it's silver, and it's like got. Oh, if you can imagine a piece of silver being hit with a hammer, that's what it's like. Is what she's showing me. Okay, this teapot meant an awful lot to her, actually. I've a feeling that, in fact, no, I don't have a feeling. In fact, she's telling me that she had that teapot in most of her adult life, and that is why she liked this teapot, if that makes sense. Okay. She also liked drinking out of china cups. Even when she had a mug, it would be like a china mug, if that makes sense. It was cups and saucers that she liked, but she did have, as I say, china mugs, if that makes sense. Yeah, with a brown handle. Yep. Brown wooden handle was sort of arched. I'm seeing it now. As I say, it was arched, as I say, with two bits of metal there, and then on the, you'll know what I'm on about. Okay. She was definitely a feeder. She's telling me that she enjoyed food herself, but she was definitely a feeder, if that makes sense. She's telling me how latterly she lost a lot of weight, but she was always she was happy in her skin, is what she's saying. She was never the perfect model size or whatever, but she's saying she was happy in her skin. She enjoyed her food, and there was no one going to stop her from enjoying her food, is what she's saying. And that's coming back to her message from you. And she's talking about your diet. What are you saying about her diet? Is there something wrong with your diet, Alison? There's something amiss in your diet at the moment. I'm getting the fact that she's going back to the food. She's bringing the food into the message, so it's important, and she's going back to you and food. So therefore, she's telling me that there's something amiss with your diet at the moment. I don't know if you've got an allergy. I don't know if you've changed maybe from like to a vegetarian or something, but there's definitely something wrong with your diet at the moment. Yeah, okay. And she's talking about stomach issues with you as well, if you can understand that, Alison. She's talking about stomach issues that she's aware of that you're having, and there's something in your diet that's not agreeing with you at the moment. So, and this is why she's taking it back around from the food. Okay, I'm just waiting for your answer for a minute so I can get more information through. Does this make any sort of sense to you, Alison? That there's something amiss with your diet, and is she correct in saying this? As I say, she's telling me stomach issues, and I'm getting it for you rather than my first time listening to you. Okay, that's fine. Right, Alison, where are you? Right, we'll keep going. Okay, well, she's just saying, yes, lots of allergies, spot on, eat raw healthy foods, have stomach problems now as we speak. Perfect, and I don't mean perfect that you've got them, but perfect for letting me know. Thank you. So yeah, okay. Yep. Well, she's telling me that she's aware of this, and she's saying that diet can actually sort it out for you. Excuse me, I've got an itchy nose. You know, to watch what food you eat, and she's talking about an elimination diet. I'm not a GP by all means, you know what I mean. But what she's trying to say is try an elimination diet, you know, and just keep a record of it basically. She's saying because she suffered stomach problems in her life as well, and she found that certain foods were making it worse, and you know, certain foods were aggravating it, and that's what she's trying to tell you. She's just letting you know that she's aware of it, and she's just trying to put her two penneth worth in, and trying to give you some advice, and just saying to eliminate things out your diet and then add them back in slowly, if that makes sense. And she's also saying that she believes that dairy is a big concern of yours at the moment. If it's not a big concern, she's saying it's when you have dairy, everything seems 10 times worse. So she's saying start by eliminating that. So I'll leave our love with you, and thank you so much for working with me, Alison, and I'll leave our love with you. Thank you. Yes, I totally understand. I've lost 35 kilograms, been right. Okay, well, as I say, just do as she says and do an elimination diet, but I'd go to the doctors before I'd done that. But she just wants you to know that she's with you. So I'll leave her love with you, and thank you so much for working with me. Okay, right, where are we now? Julie Mackenzie, if you're still here. Right, Julie, who have we got? Okay. I have a lady here, Julie, and again, this lady wasn't very old when she passed. I want to say 40s, and I want to say she passed with some sort of blood condition. Yeah. I want to say I'm not quite sure now. I'm confusing myself because I'm questioning myself, and I shouldn't do that. It's either a blood condition or it's something like sepsis, which is still a blood condition, if that makes sense. And I want to say that her passing was quite quick. It was unexpected. It was the last thing anyone expected, because she wasn't ill or anything, if that makes sense. So what? So the words. So I think she was correct in giving me the word sepsis, because that can take you quite quickly, if that makes sense. Yep, Lisa, I'll get back to you in a minute. I'll do you after this one, okay? Right, Julie, are you still there? Are you understanding what I'm speaking about? This lady in her 40s that passed with, I want to say sepsis, some sort of blood condition. It's like blood poisoning or something. You can't take sepsis, okay? As I say, it's like blood poisoning or something that I'm definitely getting. She passed very quickly. It was like here one minute and gone the next, but it was something to do with the blood. If Julie can't take this, can anyone else take it? I'll wait for a second and see if anyone else can take this. It's okay, I'm reading up and down the things, but can anyone else take a lady in their 40s who passed with sepsis? She's come through for a reason, and I really don't like sending them back without giving their message off. So I'm hoping someone can take this if Julie can't. Did anyone else understand it at all before I ask her to step back? No. Okay. I'll ask her to step back. Okay. But she was older. Okay. Okay, Julie. Well, it was Julie I was working with to start with, wasn't it? You can't take the sepsis. She had a passing of a... Right, can I just carry on with this reading for a second then? Because she was older, fair enough. Not always good with ages, but... Right. I'll carry on with it for a second. I'll give it another minute or so, and then see if you can understand any of it, okay? Right, as I say, this lady passed very quickly. As I say, it was a sudden passing. I was getting something wrong with her blood, okay? But we'll push all that to one side, so we'll go to this lady. And I want to say that she was very strong-willed woman. A very she had the strength of an ox. She had, but as I say, she had but she was strong-willed as well. She wouldn't give in to anything. If she believed she was right, she would fight it to the end, if that makes sense. She was the type of woman who would argue black was black and white was white. She wasn't, as I say, she wasn't the type to give in at all. Okay, right, there's someone else there. Right, I'm just carrying on with this for a minute. 2 ticks. So yeah, does that make any more sense to you, Julie? As I say, she was just very, I want to say overbearing at times, if that makes sense. I want to say that you had to be sort of a very patient person around her, if you can understand that. Because it was like her way or no way, and strong-willed. And as I say, it was like her way or no way. There was if she believed in something, she would fight for it. Or if you contradicted her, she was straight down your throat, pushing her opinion down your throat, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think we have got the same lady here, and it was me that picked it up wrong to start with, because as I say, they don't give anything that's wrong, but it's up to the medium, as I say, to pick it up correctly, and I picked it up wrong, obviously, so apologies for that. Okay, so anyway, as I say, this lady, she's actually turning around and saying that you need to be, there's something going on in your life at the moment that you need to be stronger about. You need to be more strong-willed about, if that makes sense, because she reckons that her words, not mine, you're a bit of a walkover, is what she's telling me, but that's her nature of saying that. So what she's meaning by that is someone is finding you soft and walking over you, Julie. Does that make sense to you? And she's not happy about it, and if it was her, she's saying she would put a stop to it, if that makes sense. But she also understands that not everyone's got the same kind of strength that she had, and she knows that you haven't got that sort of strength. But she would like you to see you sort of summon up an inner strength, if that makes sense, because you're very strong-willed. Okay, right. Well, is there someone around you that's not so strong-willed, that needs a helping hand? Because this lady's here coming in, and I thought she meant that you need a helping hand, but it's maybe that you need to help someone else around you who's not as strong as you are. It's definitely about a stronger person helping a less, I don't want to say a weak person, but a weaker person, if that makes sense, who just hasn't got the same strength of like strong-willed as you. Does that make sense to you, Julie? Yep, you're very strong-willed, but as I say, is there someone around you that maybe could do with your help, if that makes sense? And if there is, she's back. Okay, yes, you understand. Thank you. She's saying that you need to. She'd like to see, not that you need to, but she'd like to see you step in and help this lady, or I am getting it as a lady. Help this person that hasn't quite got the same strength of mind as you have, and they just need someone to help them. So what she's saying is, if you could step in and help them, she would be appreciative of it, if you could understand that. And I'll leave her love with you, Julie. That is the message. It's short and sweet, and that's what she wants. She just wants you to help this other person out, and she'll go away happy knowing that you're stepping in and helping them, if you can understand that. So I'll leave our love with you, and thank you so much, Julie. Okay, right, I've got to go back to Lisa for a second. I did say I would go back to Lisa. Are you still there, Lisa Bennett? Okay. Right, Lisa, who we got? You're welcome, Julie, you're welcome. Okay, Lisa, apologies. Right. Who have we got for Lisa? Lisa, does the name Maxine mean anything to you? I've just been given the name Maxine, and that doesn't mean that Maxine's passed or anything. It could just be evidence, if that makes sense. But as I say, I'm not 100% great with names, but I give what I get, and I got the name Maxine. Okay. So Right, what have we got? Okay. Okay. I have. Right. Okay. I had a lady and then I had a gentleman, and now I've got them both. Okay, and they're both here together. Um, your sister-in-law's Maxine. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, right. I've got this lady and this man, and in life they were together. If that makes sense. Um, so it's like mother and father, granny and granddad, auntie and uncle. It was a couple. If that makes sense. So, and I want to say they're both passed to the spirit world. They didn't. They when one went, the other one wasn't that far behind them, if that makes sense. Maybe a year or two, something like that. It wasn't that far behind them. And I want to say that this two, they loved the bones of each other, but they used to nip, 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 nip at each other. Um, but everyone that knew that was just them. They were, as I say, they loved the bones of each other, and they really, the one that was left found it quite hard to survive without the other one, if you can understand that, Lisa. And I want to say that the pair of them worked, and I want to say they worked for everything they got, if that makes sense. They were the type, he was quite a gentleman, but she went out and worked as well. To start with, when they were first married, she raised the children. He was out for work to work and everything else. But once the children got up and had families of their own, she went out and she worked because she wanted to, if that makes sense. It wasn't because she had to, it's because she wanted to. It was like she wanted a little bit of life herself, sort of after the kids up and went. If you can understand that, Lisa. My partner's mum died and his father 6 months later. Okay, brilliant. But as I say, I just felt the other one passed. I don't want to say of a broken heart, but by God, they missed each other. You know, when one was gone, the other one, as I say, just totally. I went to rack and ruin. They just couldn't survive without. If that makes sense. Okay. And as I say, I want to say that she went out. I've got to the bit where sort of she went out and worked, because she wanted to, because she wanted a bit of a, very close, but they passed years away from each other. Okay. This lady, as I say, she went out, and I want to say it was like the caring profession that she was in. I want to say like a care home or nurses auxiliary or something like that. As I say, that she that I want to say that she got trained up in, if that makes sense. Um, and it's her that's doing the speaking more than him. He's just there, and she's the one to step forward, to do the speaking, if that makes sense. And I believe that's what they were like in life. Although he wasn't quiet, he was never quiet as such. She was the one that led their relationship, if that makes sense. She was the one that would just do most of the talking, start the conversations, decide what they were doing for the day, decide what they were having for dinner. She would be the one to decide where they go on holiday. She was the decision maker, if that makes sense. Um, and I want to say she's talking about there is. I want to say there's a male in the family. There's a male in the family. Come on, come on, come on. There's a right. Okay. There's a male that you know that you're not sure of the care work, and that's fine. There's a male that you know that is. I don't want to say they're having a touch of problems emotionally at the moment, if that makes sense. Sorry, I just had to sit and think how I was going to word that. A male around you is having that obviously this lady knows, or knew, is having a touch of emotional problems at the moment, and they're not handling their emotions very well. If you can understand that, Lisa. She's come through to say that she's aware of this, and she wants you to help them get through something. They're going through something at the moment, and they just need someone there for them, if that makes sense. And she's wanting to make you aware of it. It's your partner. Okay, okay, right. Well, what she's trying to say is she wants you to try your best with him at the moment. Okay, it's like be there for him emotionally, because there's something that he's not handling. He's not handling it at all, if that makes sense. And he's in his own head about it, if that makes sense. And he's making everything worse when he's thinking about it. It's like it's mulling it over, and it's 10 times worse in his head, if that makes sense. So what she's trying to say to you, if you could be there for him and let him open up and talk to you, if that makes sense. But sometimes the closer you are to someone, the harder that is. But she's saying if you could just get him to open up and like let him pour it out, if that makes sense, then you could get to the bottom of what's really getting to him at the moment, because you're only getting bits and pieces, is what she's saying. You're not getting the full story, and she says you need the full story to be able to help him. So she just wants you to encourage him to talk, encourage him to open up, if that makes sense, Lisa. And yeah, she's saying that there's also someone got. She's making me very, very aware of my wrist at the moment. So I want to say someone's suffering with a painful wrist. I don't know if they've sprained it, broken it. I don't think they've broken it, but sprained it, or carpal tunnel syndrome or something, is what she's making me aware of as well. But she wants you to, as I say, be there for him, but try and encourage him to open up and get to the bottom of it, because she says you're only hearing bits and pieces of it at the moment. She wants you to be aware that there's more to it, if that makes sense, but you need to get him opened up. So I'll leave his love with you, Lisa, and thank you so much for waiting for me to get back to you, and thank you so much. I'll leave both their love with you, and thank you so much. Right, that is, I'm 7 minutes, I haven't got my watch on, 7 minutes over time, so I'm going to have to get going, but I want to thank you all for supporting me. I think Lorraine has put up my link to my page, so if you'd like to come over and follow, I would love it. If not, the choice is yours, but thank you so much for watching me tonight. Thank you. Bye bye.